let's hit a couple of stories that have been out there for months, right? I mean, just sitting there, and we've been talking about it and ruminating about it and wondering what the eventual ending will be. And it seems like we're going to get an answer in the next couple of weeks, starting with Lamar Jackson's contract conversation. What's the latest on that with the Ravens and Jets set to play in a couple Sundays?
This continues to be a situation where you've got two sides speaking two different languages because there's no agent to serve as the go-between between Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And I don't think they're going to get it done by week one. Now, after that, who knows? And there's a chance that the Ravens put their best offer on the table and Jackson realizes it's in his best interest to take it and to not continue to roll the dice with his financial best interests and the reality that he could suffer an injury that would make him less financially attractive in the future. It reminds me of what happened with Roku Smith, the Bears linebacker. He represents himself. Who's there to have that conversation with the player when he's evaluating that last best offer from the team? Because I've heard this from many agents over the years. At some point, they'll say, I think I could get him more. He probably deserves more. But if this were my son, I couldn't tell him in good conscience to not take this. Sometimes you need that voice with experience, wisdom, and just a broader understanding of what potentially happens next if you don't take it. So there's a chance that he has that epiphany and decides to take their best offer. But if he doesn't, all bets are off moving forward, and they may never do a deal. After this season, who knows what's going to happen. But I think that right now it would be a surprise if they manage to work it out.
So just so I'm aware here, how does it work? So it's possible that Lamar goes from the film room with Greg Roman, his OC, has that conversation, goes to the quarterback room, chit-chats with the quarterbacks, and then Eric DeCosta knocks on the door. The GM says, let's come up to my office, and then the two of them have a contract conversation. That's literally the way it's working right now in Baltimore?
That's the way it's supposed to work, and because of the stuff that happened a couple of weeks ago with Roquan Smith, where someone who isn't certified by the union was calling teams to try to generate trade interest, even though the Bears had not given permission for it. The league sent out a memo saying, look, when guys represent themselves, you can only negotiate with the player. And what some players are doing, they actually do use someone who isn't NFLPA certified, and they've got like a burner email account, and that agent, air quotes agent, pretends to be the player in the negotiations. Now, I'd like to think the Ravens are sufficiently astute that they're not going to do anything that could potentially get them in trouble with the league, but that just makes it more difficult, makes it even harder to try to get to an end result, given that at this point they're focused on week one. They should be. And at some point, that's why it needs to end, and they need to stay focused on week one. I remember last year he wasn't interested. This year, at least, he's engaged, but without an agent. And I understand the arguments against it, but the argument for it is so clear. You're a football player. You're an expert in football. You're not an expert in negotiating. Hire someone who is, and you get the deal done that you deserve, and you can focus on the thing that you're best at. So
you just feel the way things are talking right now, it doesn't get done, or you just feel that's the, it's a 12:01 league, right? 1 minute after midnight.
Well,
so could this be just
what it comes down to is, what's their best offer? That's all negotiation is about. You're trying to coax the absolute best offer out of the person you're negotiating with. Once it's on the table, then you can evaluate it. If it's truly the best offer, there's always potential. There's a little bit more and a little bit more. But let's say the Ravens put their absolute best bottom line offer on the table early next week. They got a week before they're fully focused on the Jets. Here we go. This is it. This is all we're going to do. This is what we're willing to pay you. Take it or leave it. Then the question becomes, is he able to properly come to the conclusion that offer is better for him than taking $23 million this year and rolling the dice next year, either with a franchise tag from the Ravens or another team trying to trade for him, which is possible? Which level of franchise tag is exclusive and non-exclusive? And non-exclusive would let the team try to sign him to an offer sheet, and then the Ravens could either match it and say, thank you very much for getting him to agree to a contract. We tried for 2 years and we couldn't. Thank you for doing our work for us. And then they've got him under contract. Or they could not match it and take 2 first-round picks. So this can go a lot of different ways. And the other thing that can happen, too, he could have demands that they won't meet, and then as the season unfolds, they could change their mind and say, hey, we'll give you what you wanted. And if he's still willing to take that, they could get this done during the season. Just because he wants to get it done by week 1 doesn't mean that the door is forever shut.
Well, I got a franchise tag as their backstop too, for next year. So it's not like this is a do or die, but obviously they'd like to do it for various reasons. And hopefully he gets what he wants.